So for step 15, attaching the front gearbox. Well, as you can see, we flipped the chassis over. So there we were attaching it right side up. Now we're flipping it over, and we need to put in the drive shaft and grease those up and attach the front gearbox using these stabilizer stays, which are kind of made of I'd say it's almost like a graphite material. So the pieces we need, well, we've got those, and we've got this great looking drive shaft because it's a dog bone version of it compared to what you see on some of the four-wheel drive ones, including the TAO2, which is almost like a little sort of hook and loop system. And then there's our screws, and then the urethane bushing, which I've actually already cut in half. So I'll set this up and let's put this together. So if we turn this over so that it's looking like that, we need to grease up the dog bone because it's going to fit into either side of the front and rear gearbox. So let's do that. That's on both the front and the rear. So this one obviously is going to go into the rear just like that. And then I'm just going to let it sit for a second because we're going to need to attach this now to the gearbox. And you can see that if you look at the way that's going to sit, we know that it is going to be like that inside the gearbox. So you can see that the drive shafts are kind of facing up. So we're going to now grab this, and you can see that we have the stabilizer stay, which has got to fit on just like that in that direction. So now we've got to put that urethane bumper into there, which I can use the screwdriver to kind of push it into place just like that. And then we can grab our drive shaft, slide that in, and you can see that this is actually going to slip down between these two I guess plastic parts that other screws are going to screw down for the bottom half to be screwed into, I guess is the way you could say it. Maybe that's more complicated, but you can see it's going to sit nicely between the two. Then we have these stays. Now what I'm going to do is, just to make sure that we can get something in there, is we're going to put one of these in place. Just make sure that I can screw that in. That's one. And then we'll screw in the other one here. And again, let's just screw that down. Just like that. And I might just lift that just a bit so that it's up. Now, I'm not going to screw it down all the way, but ultimately it's going to end up looking like that. But because I want to get the other side in as well. So let's put this on. Grab a screw. And you can see that's going to move. So let's get that into place. And I'll screw this in from the other side. And we'll do the same thing with the other screw. So I'm going to lift that so that that's out of the way. I just want to make sure that that is going into there. Yes. In fact, let's just make sure. Yeah, there we go. So they're on, but now I just want to make sure that everything is seated right. It seems to be. So I'm going to actually tilt that back, and we're going to screw this in all the way. And same thing for the other side. I'm just kind of going back and forth, making sure it's seated properly. Yep. So there we go. We got our buffer, our what is it, bushing in there, the urethane one, and we've got the suspension in place, and the stays are there. So if we flip this over, that is essentially how those stabilizer stays are going to look, which is interesting design. So very, very cool. So that means step 15 is complete. So we can now move on to step 16, and we're going to attach the front stabilizer.